shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Now, the abomination of desolation is going to stand in the holy place during the tribulation. You'll find this truth in Daniel chapter 8, verse 13, Daniel 9:27, Daniel 11:31, and Daniel 12, verse 11. Check them out. Read the Bible and see what it says. During that tribulation period, the Antichrist is going to stand in the holy place, the temple having been rebuilt at that time, and he's going to say, I'm God, you must worship me. And Jesus said to the apostles, when you see that take place, when you see that abomination of desolation, that was spoken of by the prophet Daniel, when you see that stand in the holy place, flee, get out of there, run out of there. So I know then the teaching of Jesus Christ back here in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, while he was teaching the apostles, training the apostles, that teaching looked forward to that which is immediately before his coming again. Notice in Matthew chapter 10, when he sends them out in Matthew chapter 10, notice in verse 16, he said, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But beware of men. They will deliver you up to the councils. They will scourge you in their synagogues, and you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what you shall speak. It shall be given you in that same hour what you shall speak. Now watch it. For it is not you that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. You can't claim that passage right now. Why, that passage is in one accord. A cross-reference to this passage would be 1 John chapter 2, verse 27. And he told them in that passage, you have an unction from the Father, and you need not that any man teach you. But that unction you have, that Spirit which you have, shall teach you in that hour. He shall teach you all things. That's in contradiction to Ephesians chapter 4. In Ephesians chapter 4, he gave evangelists, pastors, and teachers for the perfecting of the saints. We have need of teachers. They do not have need of teachers. They have something from the Father that will teach them. And during that period of time, they won't have to think about what they're going to answer. The Spirit of God will lead them in that moment what they shall speak. You have to study. The Bible said, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly divided in the word of truth. And you can't have in you that which you should speak unless you study it, unless you get it in you by study. Not so with these men. In Matthew chapter 10, notice verse 21. The brother shall deliver up the brother to death, the father the child. The children shall rise up against their parents, cause them to be put to death, and you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. We don't endure to the end to be saved. We're saved by the grace of God. Jesus Christ endured to the end for our salvation. We believe that Jesus Christ finished our salvation, and we believe that our salvation is physical salvation when he calls us to meet him in the air. In Matthew chapter 10, verse 23, when they persecute you in this city, flee you into another. For verily I say unto you, you shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. In other words, then, they would not be able to have carried out all of the so-called Great Commission before the Lord comes. He told them in Mark 16, go and preach the gospel. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, and on and on. And he said, these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they, and he tells them all these wonderful works. Well, Jesus Christ is training them at that time to carry on out here. So you've got what happened in Acts chapters 1 through 8 along in there. You've got in there that which matches that which will take place over here. In Acts chapters 1 through 8, They're not looking for any rapture. Why, in Acts chapter 1, they're out on the mount there. They watched Jesus Christ go up, and the clouds received him out of their sight. And the angel stood by them and said, you men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus shall come unto you as you've seen him go into heaven. No indication of any rapture. He didn't say anything about you're going to go up to meet him in the air. They were looking for the Lord Jesus Christ to come again. Why? Because that's what he taught them to do. He taught them for 3.5 years to look for him to come again. He taught them that you will not have finished your ministry. You will not have gone over the cities of Israel until the Son of Man be come. And when you see the abomination of desolation, when you see that, when you see him stand in the holy place, flee into the mountains, that's clear to the Bible believer. We do not look to see the Antichrist stand in the holy place. We expect to be out of here before that ever takes place. Now, we have to understand these things when we consider prayer where we are concerned in this age. People are trying to claim promises today that never was given unto them in the first place. Illustration. Turn to John and look in John, the book of John, chapter 14. In John chapter 14. In John chapter 14, the first thing is, remember, only the apostles are there. It's the night of the Lord's Supper. Judas leaves at Acts chapter 13. They're in the upper room, and it's only the apostles. And he teaches the apostles in Acts chapter 14, 15, 16, and they go out in chapter 17, and they're with him as he prays the prayer of Acts chapter 17, and so forth. It's only the apostles. Not even Judas is there. This is not the church at large. This is not 120 people, as in Acts chapter 1, nor is it 500 brethren, as in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. This is the apostles. In John chapter 14, he said, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, watch it, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you be also. He's not saying, I will catch you out of this world to meet me up there, and the passage has nothing to do with that. I will come again, and he will come again. Jesus Christ is going to come unto them again, and he will receive them unto himself. Notice now, in the passage, come down to, in chapter 14, come down to verse 11. Believe me that I'm in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, they did, the works that I do shall he do also. Now, isn't that fascinating? An individual claims this for the church. He says the passage is to the church, and he gets down to verse 12. He that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. You do not know an individual in the world today that can claim the passage. Oh, I know that they con you into believing that they do the works, but they're con artists by the millions today. Who do you know of today that can walk on water? Jesus Christ went to the apostles walking on water. They're in the boat there. Peter sees him there, and he said, if it's really you, bid me to come unto you. And he said, all right, come on. He got up, and Peter walked on the water. Why don't you try that?